The first time someone tried to hurt me, I was 8 years old, asleep in a cabin in the woods. I grew up in a very small town called Luther, Michigan. It was deep inside the Manistee Forest. The town was tiny with only about 300 people. Everyone knew each other. If a stranger showed up, people noticed right away. At that time, I lived with my grandpa in a small one-bedroom cabin that he built himself. The cabin was far from town, hidden in the woods. To reach it, you had to drive almost 2 miles down a narrow dirt road. There were no nearby houses, no street lights, and no reason for anyone to be there unless they knew us. Because the cabin had only one bedroom, my grandpa slept there and I slept in the living room. My bed was pushed right up against a large front window. During the day, the window showed our driveway, a shed, old trucks, and farm tools. It felt normal and safe. At night, everything changed. Once the sun went down, the woods became completely black. There were no lights at all. It felt like someone had covered the world outside with a blanket. You couldn't see anything beyond the glass. I slept with my back against the window every night. I was a heavy sleeper as a kid, so I usually slept straight through until morning. That night started like any other. My grandpa tucked me into bed and sat in his chair near the fireplace. He opened his Bible and began reading quietly. The fire crackled and his calm voice helped me fall asleep. A few hours later, I woke up. My back was hurting, so I turned over onto my other side. As soon as I opened my eyes, my heart dropped. There was someone standing outside the window. At first, I thought I was dreaming. It was so dark outside that I couldn't understand how I was seeing anything at all. I blinked several times, hoping it would disappear. It didn't. Once my eyes adjusted, I realized it was a man. He was standing so close to the window that his face had to be just inches away from the glass. I didn't move. I didn't make a sound. I thought that if I stayed still, he might think I was asleep and leave. He stayed. Then, slowly, the man knelt down until his face was level with mine. I could see the shape of his face and the stubble on his chin. Even in the darkness, I knew he was looking directly at me. That's when I broke down. I started crying and shaking so hard that it woke my grandpa. The moment my grandpa moved, the man outside ran away into the woods. My grandpa jumped up, turned on all the lights, grabbed his shotgun, and went outside. He was gone for several minutes, but it felt like forever. When he came back inside, his face looked scared. I had never seen him like that before. That night, he stayed awake with me until morning, sitting in his chair with the shotgun in his hands. Something had been outside our window. And it was real. Years later, I was living in a townhouse in the suburbs. It was a quiet area and felt much safer than the woods where I grew up. There had been a few robberies nearby, but nothing serious. I felt comfortable there and wasn't afraid to be alone. One weekend, my boyfriend's brother, his girlfriend, and her brother came to visit. The plan was simple. We were going to relax, play video games, drink a little, and just enjoy the weekend. My boyfriend had been studying for his LSATs for months and wanted a break. That weekend I got very sick. It was the worst flu I had ever had. I had a high fever, nausea, body aches, and a pounding headache. I felt awful, but I didn't want to ruin everyone's plans, so they still came over while I stayed in my room. They went out to eat first and I stayed in bed watching TV. I slept on and off for a while. Around 4 p.m. I heard the front door open. I called out for my boyfriend, but no one answered. I assumed it was just a noise from the neighbors or something falling, so I ignored it and went back to sleep. At some point, I half woke up and thought I saw something move across my room. I was so sick and medicated that it didn't fully register in my brain. I brushed it off, thinking it was the TV or my imagination. Around 7 p.m., everyone came back. They were loud and laughing. My boyfriend came into my room with soup and sat with me while I ate. He was acting normal at first. I asked him to grab some aspirin from a small basket under the bed. I kept extra things there like medicine and toiletries. He bent down and looked under the bed. When he stood back up, his face was completely pale. He handed me the aspirin but didn't say anything. Then he told me we needed to go to the bathroom downstairs. I didn't understand why. I told him I didn't need to go, but he insisted. I was too tired and sick to argue, so I followed him. Once we reached the couch, he sat me down. His hands were shaking. I asked him what was wrong. In a quiet voice he said, "There was someone under the bed." I laughed at first because it sounded unreal. But no one else was laughing. My boyfriend's brother said we needed to leave the house right away. As we were walking out, we heard a loud thud upstairs. We left immediately and drove away. Then we called the police. The police searched the house but didn't find anyone. Whoever had been there was gone. My boyfriend said the only thing he saw were sneakers in the dark. Before the police left, they told us they found something else. A small, rusty knife under the bed. To this day, I don't know why that person was there. And I still can't sleep with my bed near the floor. It was August of 2002, and I was 12 years old. At that time, I was living with my mom. My parents had divorced years earlier, and for most of my childhood, it was just me, my sisters, and her. After the divorce, my mom started dating a new man. A few months later, he moved in with us. Back then, I didn't understand much about adult relationships, but looking back now, there were clear warning signs. He drank a lot. He had a temper. One night, he got drunk and smashed our TV with his bare hands while yelling at us. He was bleeding, but my mom forgave him. I was a kid, so I accepted it too. In early 2002, my mom finally decided to take a break from the relationship. She and I moved into a different apartment a few miles away. I remember being upset with her for leaving him. I thought things would work out. I didn't see the danger. The real story begins on Thursday, August 8, 2002. That morning, I wasn't feeling well at school. I also had a painful rash on my hips. The school sent me to the doctor and I was diagnosed with shingles. The doctor told me that if the rash spread all the way around my body, it could be life-threatening. I was sent home and allowed to stay home the next day as well. On Friday morning, my mom woke me up before work to check on me. We had a small breakfast together and she tucked me back into bed before leaving. A few minutes after she left, I heard a noise in the hallway. I assumed it was her and called out. Instead, her ex-boyfriend appeared in my doorway. He asked why I wasn't in school. I told him I was sick. He immediately started talking about how much he missed us and how sorry he was. He said he wanted to talk to my mom and fix things. I told him I missed him too. After a few minutes, he made me promise not to tell my mom that he had been there. I told her anyway the moment she came home. At the time, I didn't question how he got into the apartment. I trusted him. He had lived with us for years. That same day, my dad picked me up to take me to my grandma's house for the weekend. I was supposed to stay there until Sunday. Sunday came and my mom wasn't answering her phone. She hadn't answered it for over 12 hours, which was not normal. A family friend drove me home. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. The police weren't allowed to open the door yet. We had to wait. When we finally went inside, I went to the bathroom to grab my school things. On the counter in the hallway, I saw something that didn't make sense. My mom's dental prosthesis. I picked it up and brought it to my dad and the police officer. My dad's face changed immediately. He knew something was wrong. My mom would never leave without it. That night, we went to my dad's house and waited. On Tuesday morning, I woke up early. As I came downstairs, I saw the village priest leaving our house. That's when I knew. My mom had been found out a few years later. I started my freshman year of college. I was still young, only 17, and the university was in my hometown. It wasn't a huge campus, but it was large enough that you didn't expect to see the same people every day. I lived on campus and was trying to move forward with my life. I wanted normal experiences. I wanted to feel safe again. Like most college students, I downloaded Tinder. I had just come out of a relationship and wanted to meet new people. That's when I matched with a guy named Asher. At first he seemed fine. He was socially awkward, but I didn't mind. I have anxiety too, so I was understanding. We texted for a while. He asked a lot of questions about me which made me uncomfortable, but I answered the basic ones. Eventually he asked me to hang out. When we met in person, things felt off almost right away. We sat on his couch in his dorm room. We weren't even really cuddling, but he kept making strange comments. He apologized for doing it wrong because he had never cuddled with anyone before. He talked about how much he already liked me and how he wanted me to stay forever. It was too much. I made an excuse and left early. After that, he kept texting me. I told him I wasn't looking for a relationship and wanted to keep things non-romantic. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. He sent me a long message saying he would wait for me and that he would save his virginity for me. We had never talked about anything like that. It made my skin crawl. I tried to slowly pull away, but he wouldn't let go. I started seeing him everywhere on campus. Outside my classes. In the dining hall. Near my dorm. I hadn't changed my routine, but somehow he always appeared. When I finally told him I didn't want to be friends at all, he snapped. He sent me angry messages, called me names, and then suddenly switched to begging. He said I was his only friend. That he loved me. That he couldn't live without me. Then he did something that terrified me. He told me he was outside my dorm room. We didn't live in the same building. You couldn't get inside unless you lived there. I wasn't even on campus at the time, but the fact that he was there made my stomach drop. Then he sent me screenshots of my contact in his phone. Every section was filled. My home address, my dorm room number, my parents' names, my siblings' name, my pets' names, my class schedule. I blocked him immediately and reported everything to the school. They did nothing. To this day I still see him on campus. He still tries to approach me. When he does, I don't fight. I don't argue. I run out. A few years after college, I moved to Chicago. I felt confident living there. I knew how to take care of myself. I was careful, aware of my surroundings, and usually avoided risky situations. One night, I met my boss at a bar near my apartment. We had a few drinks and talked for a while. Just after midnight, we decided to head home. He offered to walk me back, but my apartment was close, only about 5 minutes away. I told him I'd be fine. After he got into his rideshare, I started walking alone. At first, everything felt normal. The main street was still busy, and there were lights and traffic around. Then I turned onto my street. It was much darker and quieter. My apartment was about 3 blocks away. As I reached the first cross street, a van slowed down and stopped to let me pass in front of it. As I crossed, I heard the back door slide open. I heard feet hit the ground. My heart started racing. I didn't turn around right away, but I knew someone had gotten out of that van. I slipped my hand into my sleeve and opened the small pocket knife I carried with me. I glanced back. A man was walking behind me. His hood was up. His head was down. The distance between us was getting smaller. My mind started racing. I tried to decide what to do. Run. Turn around. Fight back. All of it felt impossible in that moment. As I approached the next corner, I heard a soft jingling sound. A man stepped into view walking 2 large dogs. Without thinking, I ran toward him. I must have scared him. A strange woman suddenly ran up to him in the middle of the night. I whispered fast, my voice shaking. I don't know the man behind me. Can I please walk with you? At first, he looked confused and tried to move away. I repeated myself, slower this time. I turned around just in time to see the man following me jump a fence and disappear into a backyard. The man with the dogs finally understood. He nodded and stayed with me. His dogs walked calmly beside us, like they knew something was wrong. He walked me all the way to my apartment door. I never got his name. I never thanked him enough. All I remember is one of the dogs was named Pumpkin. That night could have ended very differently. I don't know what the man following me wanted. I don't know why the van stopped or why he chose me. I'm just grateful that someone else was there. Sometimes safety comes from strangers. And sometimes you only get one chance to ask for help.